high risk environment, so there's a lot of engineering needs as well in our design. Our model of business is based around standard product range that we can standardise, simplify and continue to refine. It's still scalable in its measurements, so it's not, it's a standard model that can be applied at different measurements. So we've got some software, great software that we can drive parametrically to suit the specific site measurements. There's, we do the installation and we do the after sales service as well, after installation, ongoing maintenance, and to continue that full cycle. And again, so having gone through all these different centres in myself, and just quickly, we all understand that there's multitude of. I've drawn this red line to try and illustrate outside and all these other, what I'll call other areas where we can just be throwing money out the door or missing opportunities in whatever way that you wanted to look at that message. It was really all the administration and the downtime and even the time in motion and measuring, and we've got coming through here, I even go into measuring time and that spaghetti map, or that time in motion. So I've seen some missed opportunity in here, some missed opportunity in this focus and mistakes or continuous improvement. I look at this area at simple communication and handing over the information of my 32 years collected intelligence, I'll phrase it, collective, and handing that through to the new employee who may not have necessarily been in our industry before, so he doesn't have that expertise, but he still needs it to do the job properly. We can't afford it to come down. Yeah. So the system needed to be able to talk. And the general day-to-day management of the whole system, to be able to allow yourself to go through that continuous improvement journey. Quite often, or so often, I've heard that we became so busy, so things drop off. And I'll probably look at this as more of an investment of, if I spend that little bit more time now, will I have to keep going through that same pain journey again and again and again? So it's like I've worked harder, or I'd like to think smarter to try and get through that problem, and now I don't have to focus on that problem again. I can trip over the next one. Yeah. So, virtual office and time management are probably a little bit of a out there type characteristic. Pretty much the whole business I can now, not all of it, but pretty much all of it I'm close to being able to read off the tablet wherever I am. Being able to monitor field services in Victoria while I drive along the road as a passenger in Queensland. I've been able to have support on the passenger seat while we drive for country miles and miles. So we're continuing to work and we're continuing to communicate and we're doing a lot of things. We'll be able to set up and just sort of start to go into our field service and implementing our technical tools or our smart systems. So we've really been able to do a lot of, the nice country drive. Up to Canberra, we've been value adding to the trip that little bit more again. I asked Dennis before I keep going too much, but how much time do I have? 3/4 of an hour, so I've really cut right back here as well. I just wanted to touch base on, while we're all involved in manufacturing in some way or another, again, set up time reduction, smart systems, using the constant improvement methodology just for our standard product range. We've got the mindset at the very beginning that we want to do this as best as we possibly can at the start point. We've got to go through a lot of this stuff. We're using software that we can automate and continue to refine with our detailed drawing outputs. We're parametrically driving off the end of here, so it's now measuring straight from, not yet straight from the tablet, but I can certainly do this off from the laptop, Windows versus Mac, and we can effectively now straight into from the field straight to the virtually to the factory. I've had direct email to printer set up, tested, checked, have done, so I can actually be out in the field here, measure the drawing, have the drawing finished, bill of materials and everything's actually done and actually go into production, effectively have the printers printed out. We have done that in 6 minutes, been computer out, computer in, ready to print. So that, as a comparison, could have taken anywhere in the order of 4+ weeks from the other company I worked. And we would get involved in our installation, and what we're trying to come back to, and we've been through this process, is on a weekly meeting we get back in and we have a look at where could we have improved ourselves in any of these areas, just to refine that so we can focus on the next real problem or our next customer opportunity. Just, again, not wanting to go too deep, basically this is becoming our job list rolling, and we're sort of going through some processes where we need to add a new job. Now, we were being desk bound, or Anthony was being desk bound or tablet bound or wherever he was, but what I found was I still couldn't keep up with the basic data entry. So we've now put some others, we're just in the process now of actually putting in some other systems which can virtually do that off a voice recording. So we're actually now talking to the software if I can alleviate a lot more. On the submission of the job, we're actually in the process now of emailing that straight back to our admin environment. We're now we've got our estimated hours, and we sort of tell a bit of a story here. But what we're trying to do is actually communicate to the accounts that, hey, we've got another job in the system. How about we look at our cash flow projection? How about we forward project? We raise the invoice at that point in time. But when we're on the phone the next time, rather than a direct phone call, we can actually regroup, have a discussion. What are we going to call this in the description? And we can just refine it when we're on one phone call. So that's just pre-doing everything. The reason for that will come through at the end as well. So I've only glanced at our production side and the systems that we put in place there. Our field service is really where we've spent a lot of time and effort over this journey. And really for our field service, we're looking at a standard service offering. It is dynamic in its different product range that we might be looking at, the different needs and necessities associated to such. And again, we're now using a system whereby we can have the open communication dialogue at the meetings and say, well, what about that, and what about that, and what about that? Yes, 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 yes. Into the system it goes, and now we're actually able to share that anywhere, again, off the likes of the tablets and what have you. So we've built that web-based system. Again, we're all about constant improvement. We've been building in the automation and the accessibility. We're looking for a positive attitude and skill, because again, at the end of the day, the product range that the product type that we've gone into is high risk. We need to have the right attitudes, we need to have the right skills or the tools so that these people can do the right job for our customers. We need to also have that right training support. By bringing in all of this before we get to the training and support, we're fundamentally showing the new people coming the years and years of industry expertise. And just for the record, we're sort of holding now 216 years of industry expertise associated to overhead cranes. Our system is actually also there from the customer support. If we look at our middle management seats, we've sort of got all these needs and necessities these days to keep up with the statutory requirements, being the health and safety and documentation, document control, history records, maintenance records, and all those sort of things. So our system will actually help hold that information for you as well. And I'll call that a little bit of that file management. So it's a cloud-based system. It's sitting there, fully user-friendly. We've tried to, again, expedite the knowledge and using some current technology. Do we all see these codes starting to pop up as everybody's sort of starting to get their head around the QR codes? We had the barcodes and now the QR codes coming in. Sort of more related to holding a longer story, I'll phrase it. If we've got your website name, it's a URL, and the traditional barcode would only hold so much, but some of the story that we're telling is so long that we've used the QR codes. From here, we'll basically blip we'll go out onto the site. There's this particular piece of equipment. It's unique identity. We'll open up and we'll actually come up and we'll show the operator or the technician now all of the unique needs associated to that piece of equipment.
Why do you want one?
We can drill into all of the parts, the subpart and the subparts. So if we know that something's broken, we can actually focus on what is it that's broken. Oh yeah, okay, I need that. Thank you very much. I now know what I'm talking about. So when I'm communicating to order parts, we can be giving the most informed decision or understanding the most intuitive message to convey to order parts. We're actually building that now into a shopping cart so it can actually be directly ordered and sent out to site. We have just our basic setup. We have a history associated to the information. We have health and safety associated to the system as well. So we have standard frequency servicing. We're putting all the risk, there's a risk matrix associated to that style of equipment, working with health and safety people as well. So that's all in there. We can just we've got little flags waving up to our customers. Now, in our master view, our master view would actually see that this address or this customer needs something looked at this particular address, and now we've got transparency coming through to us. We can add an inspection. We would nominate what different types of inspection that I've been through some physical field service activities, and the downtime of productivity was so great that we worked out if we actually cross over lunch breaks and we got in and serviced the equipment during lunch, we could actually save so much time in productivity as well. So we actually broke down our field services, and I don't know whether you recall the number of that difference. I've got a $29,000.
27,000 is free. Talking about a particular service,
Yeah.
which was taking 3 people 3 hours on a Sunday.
Yeah. So by doing what we was just trying to recap, sorry, but by doing that style of servicing and not actually introducing all of the out of hours and all those big chunks in continuous,